So this is segment 4 of the John Force hauler model build. If you've been following us up till this point, we just got the tractor completed. And now we're going to move on to the trailer construction. As with the tractor, a lot of detail in the trailer itself, both inside and out. Doesn't quite look like it here on the front. We're going to take a couple minutes and show you all the detail on both sides, inside, outside, and give you an idea of what we've got ahead of us for this part of the build. So let's take a look at some of the detail that's on the box for the trailer. In this particular angle shows, of course, the tractor from their version completed. And take a look at the living quarters up in the right hand corner, and then of course the race work area after that towards the left. The living quarters shows kind of a sectional couch area that's in a purple color. And then below that is a brown, kind of a brownish color. That's actually a kitchen area. We'll see that from a different angle on the other side of the box. And then to the right of that, outside of the trailer, is a big cabinet that we're going to see as well. Back in the back, the race area with the drop gate, cabinetry down in there, which we'll see in a little bit more detail here shortly. This side of the box kind of shows you a lot of the detail that's on the trailer itself. If you take a look at things like the hinges from the doors, again, something we'll probably have to paint with a toothpick. Running lights on the very top section of the trailer as well as the bottom. We got the drop gate in the back. There's going to be some detail there. Most of it is on the inside. When we take a look at the living quarters area from the other angle, there's that kitchen area we talked about. Take notice of how it kind of looks like a marble effect. That is throughout the whole thing. As well as the floor that has kind of a stipple effect. We're going to try to take care of doing all that. And I will admit at first, with the kitchen area, I kind of thought what was on the top there was more of a rust effect. But it actually is marble. And thanks to a friend of mine who does model railroading, we've got a process to go through to get it to look that way. You can just see the workshop area on the other side, kind of a divider there. And then this shot kind of just shows the back part of the work area, where the car sits on top of, and the cabinets that are down in between. So let's take a look at what we got. So I've got everything laid out here on the bench. We have started some of the process of the trailer. Mainly during the time we were waiting on some of the parts to dry for the tractor, I went ahead and started painting, getting some of the things together for the trailer. But I've got all the parts laid out here, some of which haven't been painted yet. The backdrop gate, some of the doors. What is finished, of course, is the tires, wheels, and axles, which if you remember back in segment 1 we took care of doing while we were doing the tractor. Go over some of the parts we've got here. Here's this cabinet that we just mentioned that goes on the front of the trailer. That's actually finished and ready to go. Some of the steps that are in the inside of the trailer to go from one section to the other, they're done. We just have to break that apart, do some touch up, and they'll pretty much be finished. This is the couch area that we talked about in the picture that was actually purple. I opted not to paint it purple. We got a two-tone kind of town brown thing going on there, and that's pretty much finished and ready to go as well. It's got some other small parts. We got a fire extinguisher that came out really nice. It's going to go onto the kitchen area, an air tank, and then some of the stabilizers that are on the trailer. This is the kitchen unit that we talked about, and we've got it painted close to the color that's in the box. And we got a little bit of detail to finish up on this. The counter needs a couple more coats and some finished detail on the microwave area and the oven area. And then we're going to go through that process where we marbleize it. And then some more parts that need to be painted that are interior parts as well. And I'm going to point out something here. If you take a notice, especially in this particular piece right here, there are a bunch of different grooves that appear in the plastic. And I'm going to zoom over here to this one as well. This is the drop gate, the same type of thing. These grooves that you're seeing in the plastic itself. That happened from the tires actually laying on the plastic in the box, and from some heat in the attic area, unfortunately, where you shouldn't store this stuff. It actually put some grooves in the plastic. So I've been working to prepare those. We're going to putty them in. We're going to get those fixed up so that we can move on like they were never even there. But we do have to spend some time filling those and do a little repair work before we can move forward with that. So let me show you some of the interior of the trailer. So this is the interior of the trailer. We've already started working on some of this as well. This black area is where the living quarters resides in the trailer. And we've already started that. We talked about the stippled floor. So the bottom base color is going to be black, of course. And then we're going to stipple that floor with a silver to give it that marbleized effect, if you will. Trailer itself is pretty open and empty from the beginning. Not much going on here, but I have laid out the intersection that goes in. Now this is the section that was in the picture where it showed the car sitting on top of. Might be kind of hard to see a little bit, but this is all one section. We've already painted this, but the cabinetry is down inside. It's all one piece, so the cabinets are a part of that. A little hard to get down in there to do too much detail. The manufacturer didn't as well. But do take notice of the walk area, which is kind of a black rubber area. We've already started painting that. And if you notice, especially down here in this section, we're on purpose making it look like it's worn. We don't want it to look perfect and brand new. So we're working on that. You kind of see where, especially again in the back part, where it doesn't look brand new. So that section fits down into the trailer. And then we have the top piece itself that is pretty much already painted. We just have to do the detail, the running lights. That's painted, ready to go to put on the top as well. So we still got a lot of work ahead of us, but a lot done as well. So we're going to get working on repairing some of these other pieces and working on the kitchen area and try to get to the point where we can start putting some of this together. So what we got here is the marbling that we need to do on the floor. I've already done this part here. Take a look at this. Is the extension part that goes down here, meets with the other part of the floor. So what I did to begin with was I went ahead and painted it black, and then came in later on with a small piece of sponge and did what you see in the silver. Now in this case the sponge was a little bit more dense, I guess you could say, than what I wanted it, so the silver got to be a little bit overwhelming. So what I did with the extension piece that you see here, which is finished, is I actually went in with one of the flat paint brushes that I actually modified, kind of bent the bristles, and came back in with some black and just kind of stippled it, just kind of almost like you do sponge painting, to get it to where I want it to be. So what we're going to do is I'm going to stick this down in here to kind of just give me a guide to try to get the rest of the floor and try to match it up best I can. And then we're going to go ahead and take our brush, and we're just going to start stippling, especially over where the silver's kind of become overwhelming. We just keep going back with the brush. Try to widen it out, and then just go back and keep stippling over top of it until we can get the consistency that we want. I do have a couple different brushes here. We'll go through and change it up a little bit, try to get a different pattern. Biggest problem is trying to get a brush that will give you the stipple effect that you're really looking for. So what we'll do is we'll let that dry. Make sure that when it does, it's pretty close to the extension. Don't forget also that down in these corners and around the backs where the couch assembly and the kitchen assembly is going to go, so some of this you're not even going to see. But we got it pretty close. We'll let that dry a little bit, and we'll come back, do whatever little stippling we have to do to make it match as perfect as we can, and then we'll move on from there. So I want to show you a shot of the finished product from the stippling, marbling of the floor. We're all done with that now. I did go back with the silver a little bit and marble some places that I just quite wasn't happy with. It was a little bit too black, but we got that taken care of. It's all dry now, and we'll move on to some of the other pieces. Actually come out a lot better than I expected. So we're doing some last minute painting on some of the interior parts. Stick around because we are very close to getting all this put together and getting the trailer finished up so we can complete this entire build. One thing I did want to show you though on these pieces that are drying, we'll flip this one over here. If you remember back in one of the first videos I showed you about how we had some indentations from the tires and the heat from where this was stored. We've got these all filled in on this piece and then also on the tailgate piece. We've got these filled in. We'll get ready, and this piece of course here we'll get shot silver, or actually gray I believe it is on the other side, silver gray, close enough, with some detail that we'll add to this with some of the components that you see here. This is the tailgate, which will get white. These indentations took 5 to 6 times of getting them filled, sanding them down, filling them again. The putty just didn't want to set like I really had hoped, but in the end we got them filled and we should be good to go. So we're going to finish painting up these couple parts, and then we'll be back ready to go with the build on the trailer.